artist, and I've been teaching for over 50 years, teaching children and teaching adults, and I really enjoy the teaching. And I paint everything that I see. If you're wondering where I get my inspiration, we travel. We travel all over the world. Also, I come from New York, and New York is an interesting place to paint. It's very colorful. Buildings, the traffic, the cabs, the people. And now, get your palette, get your brushes, and let's get started. Welcome to From the Painter's Palette. My name is Judy Wengrovitz. I'm an art instructor. I live in Fairfax County, Virginia, and I have something special to show you today. We're going to paint a lighthouse, but especially we're going to show you how to paint the rocks. Let's get started right now. The first thing I'm going to show you, I thought, is to show you what I'm going to use to paint with. And I have several brushes here. These brushes are special. They're flat, all of them, and they're all different sizes, which may help me make my rocks different sizes. These brushes are different. They're pointy. This one is a little heavier. This is a very thin one called a rigger. I don't even know if I'll use it, but I want to show it to you. And this is another pointy one. This is my watercolor paper, and it is now stapled to a board to keep it from rippling, because I usually wet this watercolor paper, and if I don't staple it, it'll wave. Now, what am I going to paint today? I love to go to Maine, and I love to go and paint different lighthouses. Today, I'm going to paint one of my favorite, and this is called Pemaquid Lighthouse. And why it's different is that the rock formations are different. They're not all round, they're long. And I have literally sat on some of these rocks with my easel and everything and painted right on the rocks. And I have decided just to go ahead and lay in some color so I know what part of the painting I'm doing. The rocks are over here. I'm going to wait for a few minutes for the rocks. What I think I'll just go ahead and do is to put in some of the greens and colors so I can see where I am. Okay, first color I'm going to use is, I'm dipping my brush, this is my square brush. I'm dipping my brush in here, and this is a hooker's green. Let's go ahead and lay this color down. And actually, I could add a little bit of yellow to it. Let's add a little yellow. And this will show me where some of the grass is near the rocks. As I add yellow, you can see what happens. Okay. What other colors can I add? I think I will paint the house. There's a little house over here. And this time, I'm going to use a different brush. Let's use this brush this time. And I'm going to paint the house. And the house looks like it's a crimson. So let's get a crimson. And I'm taking the crimson. I think I added a little darker. And I'm going to just, at this point, may change some of these things later on. This is a little bright, but let's just put it here anyhow to show that there is something crimson. Actually, this came out a little darker over here. There are lots of evergreen trees around here too. And these are all evergreen trees. So let's go ahead and paint some of the trees. There are some figures over here. I'm going to paint some of these trees, and I'm using this time a little bit of want to make this colorful. I'm going to put a little color back here. And this seems to be a big wall. Perhaps somebody built this wall. And I think I'm going to put this wall in. So what color shall I do that wall? I'm really making this colorful. This is ultramarine blue and a little bit of crimson. Oh, I'm actually taking a little bit of burnt sienna. Let's see what happens here. Okay. And I'm going to paint this wall. As I say, watch me, because I am never going to keep these colors. These are just sort of undercolors. But it's a guide for me to know what's going on in this painting, and hopefully I will show you what to do. All right, let's paint some more evergreen trees. These evergreen trees over here are dark. I'm going to go ahead and paint them. Again, I'm going to take my Hooker's green. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue. Well, this is getting darker. This one evergreen tree. And I think this is dark enough. Yeah, that's pretty dark. Okay, gotta go back and get some more color. And again, I use my ultramarine blue. The ultramarine blue mixes with the Hooker's green and the burnt sienna. It gets it pretty dark. Oh, this is even darker. Wow. Oh, I like that color. Okay. As the trees go back a little further, just to give it a little more distance, I'm going to add a little bit more blue. Perhaps even more blue with a little bit of water. When I add water to this color, it gets, as you can see, it gets even lighter. And I think I'm going to get one real dark tree here. Yeah, wow, that's pretty dark. Notice the edges of the tree. I'm not painting like a little round ball. I'm painting, I want that tree to come in front of this other tree, and I think it's beginning to do it. Oops, slipped. So go back to the Hooker's green, back to the ultramarine. Let's see if I can get it even darker. Is it? Yes, it's darker, all right. Yep, it's darker, okay? Now we paint something else. We're going to paint the lighthouse. And one side of the lighthouse has a shadow on it. And it's sort of, I just mixed a little bit of, looks to me like cerulean blue. Let's go ahead and put a shadow. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm going to put a little crimson in here. Let's get my ultramarine. I mean my cerulean again. I'm adding a little bit of red to it. Actually, I don't know what this is called. to tell you the truth. I don't know, but I know I'm painting one side of it and I'm putting it in shadow. I'm exaggerating the shadows because they're against the sky, and that's going to be tricky to do. So let's go ahead and do the top of this building, which is going to be in shadow too. And a little bit of the roof showing. Yeah. And let's see. Okay, now, oh, I'm going to put a little purple here. Now I have some little figures standing in the distance, and they're silhouettes. So let's see, what color should I make them? I hate to say ultramarine blue, but that's the color I'm using again. Some artists don't use that color. Somehow I find that it does a lot for me. So now let's go ahead and let's do the little silhouette of the figures standing near the lighthouse. That's not too bad. Let's go ahead and make another one. They're talking to each other. Maybe one of them is me. There are two figures there, and there's a little figure sitting down here. That little figure might be me painting. There's one there. Actually, this brush is very nice, and it forms a very nice point, even though it's, what number is this? It's a number 10. I have another little figure here. Actually, I see some other bushes, because if I do the sky and run into these figures, we're in trouble because the figures are going to, they're still damp, they're going to smear. So let me not touch the sky yet. Actually, I see where I can make some other bushes here. I have this photograph. I can make anything I want to. I don't have to follow. As you see, it's not really following the photograph. But the photograph is just a reminder. And it's a reminder of when I was there. I love to go there because people are running up and down those rocks. Let's do the top of the lighthouse. Guess what color we're using? Well, here we go again. It's the same thing. When I put my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna together, it gives me a black. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do the top of the lighthouse here. Actually, while I'm doing this, I did something which I may show you. Maybe you never did it. I don't want my hand to shake. So what I did is, as I'm painting the lighthouse, I have my hand, my pinky is on the paper, and I'm going to hold it like this. That way, my hand does not shake while I do this. I don't want it to shake because it's going to be hard to fix. Not bad. And let's do the inside of that window. And this time, I added a little water to my ultramarine blue. And what happened was, my color in my window became gray. Oh, I see. There's another little window up here. And this is coming along pretty quickly. What I did here, if you can see the shine on the paper over here, this shine, I wanted a little bit of raised surface, especially, but I didn't have any things that really gave me too much of a raised surface, but I did do something here. And I used, this is Winsor Newton gouache, which I put on with, I don't want to do it now because it won't dry. I did this last night so it would dry, but I put this on with this brush over here, and I put the brush over here to give me some of the raised surface, and to make it thicker, I actually, this is unusual, I've never done this before, but it worked. I actually squeezed out, I'll squeeze a little bit of this out. Maybe I'll sneak in some color down here. Can you see? I put some of that raised surface down in the very corner over here. And now this is called gouache, but I've also done the same thing with gesso, which I don't happen to have right here now, but it wasn't that different than what I am doing here. I didn't want it to be too thick. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to put some color all over those rocks. And the colors I'm going to be using are the undercolor of the rock, and I'll show you what it means soon, okay? So let's go ahead. And what color shall I put in? I put in some light color here just to see what it would look like. Let's start in with this big rock over here. And as I say, I wanted this to be a colorful painting. So I'm using, well, that's a little bit too colorful. I'm mixing up some, okay, mixing up some warm colors. Now watch, something's going to happen. Watch what happens. I'm using, the colors I'm using now, I'm using a few colors here. I have a yellow ochre, I have a cadmium orange, and a burnt sienna. Now watch. Wow. And it did work, well, sort of. You can see that when I put my color over my dried up gouache, what happened gave me some texture. Okay, now I'm going to start painting the rest of the rocks, and I'll paint them different colors. I don't know what color I want, but I'm going to use something special to show you. Again, let's see, I have, I take a little bit of cobalt blue. Okay, mixed it with, it gives it, actually gives it a pretty nice texture. Sometimes when you make a mistake, you discover something new. Well, I sort of discovered something. It's not really new, it's new on this painting, is the water is running down to a drip. So I'm going to show you how to remove the drip. I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to wipe it on a piece of towel, and I'm going to run my brush right along this drip, and nicely it picks it up. Get it off. Okay, so let's keep on working here. And I'm still working the same colors. I feel like having some warm colors here. Oh, this is really warm, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's see what color. Well, this was a crimson. I don't know. Let's see whether I like that or not. Not bad. I don't know what's going to happen at the end. I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes and then show you. Because of this brush being wider and having flat hairs, it covers a lot more territory. And this time, instead of the usual orange and brown, I have a little sort of gray color. My colors are beginning to dry, so it gives me the opportunity to show you something new. We never know with the paint whether it will give us exactly what we want. On the other hand, it's great because it doesn't give us what we want and we learn something new. This is pretty dry. I hope I can work it. What am I going to use now? I'm going to use something different here and see if it works. This is a double-edged razor blade. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'm going to just try it in a little area. Let me use my pointy brush this time. I don't want to do, and I'm going to put a dark color down. It's a sort of a brownish color. Wow. That's pretty dark. Let's see what happens. Sort of works, yeah. I put a light color down first, put my dark color on afterwards, and began to scrape off some colors with my razor blade. I'm going to try something else to see if it scrapes off as well. Let's go ahead and put some dark color down, and I'm going to do it maybe over here this time. Okay, it's the same thing. I'm using, whoops. Okay, let's go ahead and do it over here. Let's try this. Oh, wow. Yeah, that really works very nicely. I don't want the whole thing that dark, though. I think I'll sort of lighten it up. I think this one seems to scrape even better than the little razor blade. All right, I don't want to get it quite that dark. I didn't expect it to be quite that dark. So, all right, let's go ahead and do the big rock here. But this time, I'll do a little bit at a time. I used a different color this time, a lighter, sort of a gray color. And let's go ahead and scrape that off. Didn't put enough paint down. You have to put more paint down. Let me go ahead. I told you that's too dark. I want to try to see if I can fix it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if it's going to work or not. Let's see. I'm going to go over again with water. Yeah, pretty much it works a little bit. Yeah, worked a little bit. Want to try something down here to show you. In order to do those rocks, I can do different things. I used a razor blade. Actually, I used two razor blades. This time, let me go ahead over this rock here. And this time, I'm going to dip it into my gray color. And I'm going to spread. Let's see if I could spread these hairs out. Let's see. I don't know. What color am I using? I probably am using all colors. I might change my brush too. Yeah, let me change the brush this time. And using another square brush. What I'm doing is something different too. Okay, these brushes are brand new, so the hairs don't spread. Yeah, here it goes. As you can see what's happening, I'll show you exactly what happened. I'm just try this out a little bit. It's working even better now. Okay. These are, as I say, these are funny rocks. I know because I fell down on one of those rocks. Watch this. Isn't this neat? Still, this is still bothering me. I might go over it with sub gouache, perhaps. I don't know. But anyhow, what happened was, in this little brush over here, I sort of wiggled the brush around, and the hairs separated, and this is what I got. And as I say, the gouache, let's see if I have any white gouache. I got to get rid of that because it really is right in front of me. Okay, let's see if I could get rid of that dark color. I'm going to squeeze this gouache out. And I have another brush here. It's pretty much the same as this one, only a little narrower. And let's see what's happening here. Might be too white. Well, it's a little lighter. Got rid of it a little bit more. Yeah. While I'm doing this, I showed you how to do this over here. I showed you how, well, let's get this. Showed you how to scrape off with the razor blade. Let me fix that green and change it a little bit. Oh, I'm using this time the smaller brush, and I'm using my Hooker's green, a little bit of yellow. And I put some more texture in that grass over there. Yeah. I'm beginning to realize that my colors are dry, and I may be able to do the sky for you soon. This is also something I have to do. What happens is, as I'm painting, I see things that I want to do, only I can't. I probably would have to be painting with two hands in order to do everything. Let's put a little, this little green sneaked in here. Okay. I want to do some of the outlines of the rocks. So I could go back to my pointy brush here, this pointy brush. And let's go ahead and do some of the, okay. I'm outlining some of the rocks here. I got my texture in, and now I'm outlining some of the rocks. With what colors? You could probably answer me now, because I am using my ultramarine blue and did something a little different just now. If you were watching, you would have seen it, but here's what I did. To change the shape of the rock a little bit, what I did, still mixing these two colors. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come down and press down. Press down. So when I press down, you get a thicker outline. Okay. I can't wait to do the sky, except that I still I'm still doing this, so I better stop jumping around and go ahead. Let's put, okay, here goes. I have some pencil lines. I want to erase these pencil lines first before I put my sky in. So I have erased this. Hopefully, I could always put another tree in. Okay, now we're going to do the sky with the big brush, and I'm going to make sure this time that my palette is clean, because I don't want to have anything happen in the middle of my sky. So I'm going to dip my paper towel into some water and clean off almost my palette. Okay, and here we go. I see one more pencil line here. As I say, probably end up putting more trees down. Okay, so what I'm doing, and actually, I may need to get some clean water. Okay. Well, let's try it with this water. This water has some, I'll try it in one corner. What? Yeah, this water is dirty. Okay. Now, wipe off my drips. Some other lines I should have erased, but too late now. This is plain, clear water. I went right over. I'm afraid to go over the black of the lighthouse. I'm afraid that might smear, but I'm going over the other colors, and as you can see. Okay, let's go ahead and pick out some colors to use for the sky. Okay. Picking, by the way, I'm lifting off some of the drips. Okay, let's take a little bit of cerulean blue. Let's see. Oh boy, that's a big drip, but I don't want to touch it yet until I finish this sky here. Okay. Now, isn't that nice? Okay. still using, I'm using two blues here. I'm using cerulean blue. This is getting pretty dark here. I might want it dark though. This is a little bit of cobalt blue. I might want some streaks in that sky. It's a little dead here. So let's go ahead and the three blues again. No, I don't think I want my, look what's happening. And actually, that's fine. I went back over this wall, changed the color. Okay. I have to wipe off my brush so I don't have quite that much water in there. Okay. Okay. It's fun to do the sky. When you work on a wet surface, you can change the color of the sky and maybe make it a little darker. What I'm thinking of, I want to make it a little darker near the lighthouse. Yeah, it's working so that the lighthouse stands out white. And so I'm still using a mixture, and I'm adding a lot of water to this too. So if you put it down and you sort of wiggle it around a little bit. I'm wiggling my brush here to give it a little. It's a big sky, so we don't have to have the same blue all through the whole sky. I see a little mistake. Let me see if I can fix it. Yeah. Yep. I had some pencil lines here, which I didn't like. Well, and actually it's funny because the water actually took off most of the pencil. Well, I still see them there, but. And, oh, I know what I have to do. I have to make my shadow on my house a little bit darker because I told you last time it was too bright. So I'm going to use a smaller brush just to show you. This one is smaller, pointy, and I'm using crimson. Crimson and green make sort of a brownish color. I'm using crimson. Let's see what that looks like. That's not bad. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, something just happened, but I could fix it up too. Yeah, that worked pretty nicely. You know what? I'm just gonna, it might not make any sense. I had to run something across there. Also, I have a strange lighthouse here because my lighthouse does not have light in it or something. So let's go ahead and put something in here. And I forgot another thing in the lighthouse. I forgot to put a window. So let's put a window. I got the window over here. And let me put some more trees behind everything. As I go along, I can see things that I didn't plan for, but would look okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make these trees darker. This is something sticking up, so why don't I make it into a little tree? Okay. And I have something here. Oh, I know. So I'm going to put some little trees in the background. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, make the window a little darker. This is the final stages of this painting, although I have lot of things to do down here, and I'm going to do them soon too. Okay. This is darker, and oh, this has got to be darker over here, and actually this wall is pretty dark too. So we change the brushes again because that's a little bit too small. That's too small. So I'm going to get my other pointy brush, and I'm going to make this wall a little darker, more like in a silhouette. So what do you think I'm going to use? Yep. Well, I fooled you. I used a little bit of ultramarine blue, and let's see what happens here. Yeah. Well, this is not burnt sienna this time. This is purple crimson. Oh, too bad. A little bit of pink got in that sky by accident just now. Maybe my finger. I don't know if I can fix it or not. But I should try. Maybe I won't try. I can move pretty fast with this if I want to. I see a few things to fix up, and I'll show you what I can do. I can sheet a little bit. Let's see. Yes, here. What I'm doing now, let's see here. Look what I did. What I did was take my gouache, And this window's too big, so let's fix it up. That's better. Okay. What else should I do? Well, let's make this a little bit of a window here on the side. Anything else here right now? Okay, now I can go back. I'll put this brush in here for a second, and I will go back and put in some more darks for the rocks. Now I'm using it. Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead. Here and there, I'm going to put in some darks. Okay. And okay, so why don't I finish putting some color in here? Okay, I'm taking lots of brushes, it looks to me like, and I'm taking this off here, and I'm going to paint the bottom part of the painting, the undercolor. And guess what? What color? Oh, let's see. Let's put in, yeah. As I say, these rocks are not, they're flat rocks. And when you go down to Pemaquid, you see all the children, and actually some adults too, running up and down these rocks. Actually, let me put a little bit of and the colors I'm using now are sort of a mixture of some of that burnt sienna, a lot of water. I'm going to put in some of this stuff here too, but I want to get most of the color on first. Use a little bit of, I'm using my ultramarine blue and whatever mixture I have on my paper with a lot of water, so I can cover the whole bottom of the paper. You see me dipping in and out, so you should know that every time I do that, I'm adding more water. This happened also by accident. I dipped it into the crimson, and I really like it. Oh, I think, let's get it. I like the orange there. Actually, the rocks are not orange at all, but I like. Okay, so much to my surprise, I got a lot done on this painting and tried to show you some various techniques. So I welcome you to go ahead and buy some paint and try out some of these techniques that I showed you. Also, if you would like to see some of my other paintings, look at my webpage. My webpage is judyswatercolors.com. I have New York scenes that don't look like Pemaquid, but going to Pemaquid is a special treat. Thanks for coming. Goodbye.